Thank you for listening to this important message. I'm the granddaughter for one of the attorneys for the Pittsburgh Police, and we have a documentary that we're working on. If you could support us, it would be very helpful. The story is called Safe House in memory of Erica A. Harkema. It's based on a true story. We would like to have actors and actresses that are local and some ones that are already picked out for parts. The story is about child safety, and Erica A. Harkema was a forensic child expert, and she had passed away September 5th, 2002. The only way to really best describe the story of Erica is to tell it in a story like this, about how she would take children to their family visits, and a lot of stories that have been untold or not told correctly. This gives us an opportunity to tell you a story about the Safe House, where to feel safe again. It's based on therapy from child abuse recovery and survivors' stories. None of the survivors' names will be mentioned for their protection as well. The reason Safe House came up is that because a lot of times there are programs that offer therapy and assistance, but when it comes to housing foster children or orphans, there's a vacancy, obviously, okay? The foster parent program is under huge scrutiny because of past abuses, so they are monitored carefully by forensic experts so that the victims, or in this case, the children that are in placement, don't get re-victimized. So the movie tells the story about this very thing, and why we want to encourage all of you to work with us if you can by lending your support. It's a financial thing. It's a financial project. We have some fantastic actors and actresses that I know would fit the role perfectly. And I think it'll touch lives, and it'll change the way you look at child abuse from a recovery perspective. I want to make the inference that everyone hears the stories on the news and they say, if only I could help, if only I could do something. This is your chance to help victims, because they get to tell their story in their own way, in their own words. And through acting and presenting a story like this, I think, because I know that it's not a low budget thing, okay? That's exactly what has happened to most child abuse survivors and victims, is that everything's been low budget. So we want to have as much money available to us so that we can provide the best story and provide the best film we can possibly do that. The story of the Safe House is important because there really was no other safe house. There was really nowhere else to go but the Safe House. And when anyone's ever been a victim of abuse, like, that's your only way out. So the story is being told again in memory of Erica. Also, for those of you who knew Erica, you know how important this story is, because she was a member of a large community of therapists and doctors that work at Children's Hospital. Erica was a child abuse forensic expert at Children's Hospital, and she was loved by thousands of people throughout Pittsburgh and everywhere. She spoke on shaken baby syndrome, and there are several other topics that I think she had been able to go to the podium and express in behalf of us victims and survivors, you know. I am somebody who walked in on it. So I wasn't the victim. I mean, when I say victims, we've been victimized by what happened as a family. Our family did not cope very well, okay? there's a lot of problems that happen to families after victimization. Sometimes long-term drug use, alcohol abuse. I mean, a number of things can go wrong after a child has been victimized. It's very difficult on the family. So this safe house story is told about a visit where a little boy wanted to be a cowboy. And the story is about Erica. Okay, so that you know that when you see the storyline and what we're trying to recreate, it's her story about how she rescued these little kids. And it's going to change lives for the better. Erica changed lives. And everyone that knew Erica said the same thing. Thank you for saving our life, Erica.